Hey guys, King of Charmanders here, and I'd like to introduce you to something that's probably killed you and me multiple times in Go Battle League, Mr./Mrs. Wiggles/Wigglytuff. This cute and adorable little pink power pup of destruction is eligible for the Love Cup, and there's actually little things that can stop it. So I'm not going to go into Wigglytuff too much, because you probably have faced it a bunch of times. I've definitely been destroyed by it a ton of times, and it's just really, really thick. So, Wigglytuff is the thicker of the Charmers in the Love Cup. It has incredibly high stamina, and because of that, it's able to live through a lot of damage. It also has high attack, and even though it has low defense, like I said, that stamina allows it to live through a ton of shots. It will wiggle down and do a ton of damage before you take it out. The thing that makes Wigglytuff so strong, obviously, it's a normal/fairy type. This combination makes it really interesting because it gives it an extra resistance to ghost types. Now, the thing is, because of the fairy and normal typing, you are neutral to fighting, so fighting does neutral damage. However, in some scenarios, that ghost type resistance actually matters more. But with that being said, you still carry the dragon resistance, the bug, and the dark resistance. So you carry the important resistances, and the only things that actually take out Wigglytuff are poison and steel types, which aren't actually very popular in the Love Cup, so it's very, very safe. Obviously, the thing that makes Wigglytuff so dangerous is the oh-so-powerful Charm. The thing that does a ton of damage, and is, like I mentioned, because there's such an absence of poison and steel typings, it's actually pretty dang safe in the Love Cup. It does Sport Charm. It also has Play Rough, Hyper Beam. Yes, it has a beam. It's a Charmer with one of the most powerful moves in the game. And it also has Ice Beam as well. And Dazzling Gleam. So it has a very versatile moveset, but the reason why it's so powerful is obviously because of the infamous Charm. Alright, here's the Love Cup rankings. As you see here, Clefable ranks at number 5. Yeah, it's one above Wigglytuff. However, if you look at it objectively, both of them don't make an obscene amount of difference. But I'm going to analyze each one separately, because it's worth looking to each one differently, because yeah, like, you might as well. It's for science. As you see, Wigglytuff ranks at number 6. As you see here, it's pretty powerful in all positions, lead, closer, or switch. It has like a B across. Best used in the lead, because in the 2 shield, there's not a lot of things that can stop Wigglytuff. As you see here, you beat the crud out of the fighters, especially Scrafty, which is why I'm pretty sure you probably will never see Scrafty used in this meta, because it's so dangerous. Medicham Axel, as you see here, also takes a ton of damage, unfortunately. And here's the interesting thing. Wigglytuff can beat Clefable, so because it has that bulk, it's actually able to beat its cousin, its charm cousin, Clefable. Can also beat Electrode and Lickitung. Now, your key losses, as you see here, are Charizard. Charizard, the reason because it does resist Charm because of its fire typing. Same thing with Shadow Vileplume, because Shadow Vileplume is a poison type, because poison types are able to resist your Charm. So there are some things that can stop Charmers, but not too many things. As you see, you also lose against Alola just because Alola is a very, very thick Mon, and it's able to hit you with those waterfalls and do a ton of damage to you. And you also have Seeking. So Seeking, you lose against Seeking because Seeking has Poison Jab. Then again, Seeking pretty much has Poison Jab. So that's why Fairies are weak to Poison, and that's why you beat Seeking. So the thing about Wigglytuff in the lead is at number 6. Still very powerful, still top 10. Well, not to be surprised, because Wigglytuff with 2 shields, or a Charmer with 2 shields, is just so strong. In the switch position, Wigglytuff ranks at the top 10, right next to Clefable. Just because if you leave it in the back and you switch it into a positive matchup because your opponent loses lead, guess what? You're going to delete whatever is in front of you, except these things. And as a closer, Wigglytuff is still very powerful. As you see here, as a closer, Wigglytuff ranks at number 31. Not so much power, not so strong as in the shields, but as you see, Alola technically beats you in the 1s, you do beat in the 0s. So it will beat a lot of things in the 0s, despite the fact that it has no shields, because it's so thick. And if you do have a charge move ready, you can take out a lot of things. Alright, here's the peeppoke.com rankings. As I always say, please consider donating peeppoke.com. So I'm going to do this. We got Wigglytuff with Play Rough. What happens if you do this? We're going to do this just for science, okay? Wigglytuff with Hyper Beam. So if you are able to beam something, yes, I am a proprietor of beams, or a promoter of beams. Wigglytuff with Hyper Beam does heavy damage. So if you can get a Hyper Beam on something, it's probably going to delete some. It's going to do heavy damage. So as you see here, I have the 2 shield ready, Love Cup meta to the right, we hit battle, and as you see here, for the most part, all you really need is Charm. As you see, Wigglytuff with Charm deletes a majority of the meta, even Charizard. So Charizard is one of the big things that stop Wigglytuff. However, in the 2 shields, Wigglytuff is able to charm it down and take it out. Because Charizard has Dragon Claw. So because you only have Dragon Claw, and guess what? Wigglytuff resists Dragon Claw. So in order to take out Wigglytuff, you need to hit it with a Blast Burn. As you see here, you do lose against Lickitung XL, or, yeah, Lickitung XL. I actually don't know how Lickitung XL beats you. Yeah, in the 2 shield. It's very strange. Yeah, you actually delete Lickitung XL, so I don't know why you lose. You beat Lickitung in the 2 shield scenario. I don't know why it's like this, but yeah, you should beat Lickitung XL in the 2 shield, because you resist those licks. Vileplume Shadow is one of the things that will stop you. As you see here, unfortunately, Wigglytuff does get walled by Shadow Vileplume, and it's a Razor Leafer. So, yeah, it's a Razor Leafer, so just be very careful of the Vileplume, because Vileplume is one of the few poison typings in this meta, and it will shred through Wigglytuff, which is ironic. And of course, it'll be IV dependent for the mirror match. As you see, not many things can stop the 2 shield strat with Wigglytuff. Go to the 1 shield. As you see here, if we go to the 1 shield, that's when things start getting a little dicey. As you see, you'll lose against Alomomola, both versions of Charizard. You lose against Lickitung. I think this might be a visual error though, because technically you should just do, yeah, you beat Lickitung really hard. Just because, even if it's an XL, just because you resist Lick. As you see here, there's not enough body slams that take you out, and you just literally double charm it to death. However, Vileplume Shadow and Wigglytuff, of course, simultaneous knockout, and with Vileplume Shadow, of course, Shadow Razor Leaf Stick and destroy you. But as you see, you beat the rest of the meta with the exception of Charizard because because Fire resists Charm, and Alomomola just because it's super thick, so it's able to as you see, it's able to Psychic you to death. You only win in the one, you lose in the 1 shield, but you're able to beat Alomomola in pretty much every other scenario. Now, that's the 1 shield. How about the zeros? Now, with the zeros, we're going to get interesting. As you see here, in the zeros, you're able to beat Alomomola with Play Rough. You lose with Hyper Beam, just because Play Rough is where you go. You hit it with a Play Rough, and you KO it, because you get that stab. Even though it has a lot of damage, yeah, you just charm it, and then because you get that stab, and that you're able to out-damage Alomomola basically in the zeros. You lose against the slew of things, Charizard, Churrum, Clefable, Crustal, Electrode. Now, this is very situational against what you lose against, because if they're damaged enough, you can pretty much charm down. This is assuming that you have full HP and you're in the closing scenario. Other than that, the closer is Wigglytuff's weakest area if you do happen to get in here. And the only things you really beat are Medicham and Scrafty and, of course, Lickitung. Even though it doesn't say over here, you beat Lickitung. As long as it doesn't have shielded, you're in the 0 ones with shields. As you see, keep Wigglytuff away in the closer. However, you have shields. As long as you're in the closer, you're fine. You can still flip 1, 2 matchups, or 3 matchups. Now, in the 1-0s, obviously any Charmer with shield advantage is a monster. As you see here, you're able to take down a slew of the meta. You still aren't able to take out Shadow Vileplume. Shadow Razor Leaf is super impressive. However, like I mentioned, you will beat Lickitung in the 1-0s. You also can beat Charizard. So here's the thing about Charizard, what makes it tricky. With Charizard, you basically have to block the Blast Burn. So you have to call it. You call Blast Burn, here's what happens. Wigglytuff wins. So it's a bait-dependent matchup. As long as you shield the Blast Burn, you don't fall for the bait, you can take out Charizard. So this is a very bait-dependent matchup. Same thing with Fire Spin. Fire Spin's even slower. However, like I mentioned, if you are able to block the Blast Burn, you are able to win the matchup. So in the 1-0s, or with Charizard, or just Charizard in general, unless it's a 2 shield, it's a bait-dependent matchup. In a sense. So as long as you have 2, yeah, so be careful. In the 2-0s, as you see, there is nothing that stops Shadow Wigglytuff except for Shadow Vileplume. So the only thing that stops Wigglytuff 2 shield strat is Shadow Vileplume, and it's a Shadow Shadow Razor Leaf Vileplume, unfortunately. As you see here, you're able to beat Lickitung, so I don't know why it says that, but you're able to beat everything but Shadow Vileplume in the 2-0s. Or in the 2-1s, it becomes a little bit of a different story. Of course, with Wigglytuff, you are going to be simultaneously knocked out, but it's basically just like the 2-0s. With Shield Advantage, you are able to effectively charm everything down except for Vileplume, and of course, Wigglytuff, depending on... Of course, Wigglytuff, it's going to be simultaneous knockout. This is basically IV dependent, and whether or not you have energy or not. As you see here. So whoever has energy, basically whoever has energy advantage, or whoever's more damaged, etc., is going to win this matchup in the mirror. But other than that, the only thing, 2-0s and the two shield strat, as you see, is just insanely powerful, and there's very little that can stop it except for Shadow Vileplume. 9 out of 10. What, did you expect anything less? No, seriously though. Okay, here's why. 2 shields. You hit battle. 91%. 91. And the only draw is literally against itself. So you only have 7 losses in the entire meta. And you know what they are too? The only really random steel types in the game, Vileplume, and strangely enough, Magcargo. Yeah. For some odd reason, Magcargo was able to beat you. I don't know why this, but like, yeah, that's it. Other than that, you beat the rest of the entire meta, which is, yeah. The random poison, basically the few, like, 7 poison typings, Scizor, Rubber Trash, and these aren't even bad ratings. As you see here with the steel and bug typings, these aren't bad ratings. You literally barely lose. So you could farm it down in the back, and then, yeah. You can farm it down, and then just, yeah, whatever you want to do in the back. But as you see here, there's only, like, it's just it's just nuts. It's so hard to stop Wigglytuff with 2 shields. If you have shield advantage, here's what happens. It's still the same thing. As you see here, even when they drop shields. In the 2-0s, like, it's just, there's so little. In the 2-0s, the only thing that can stop it is Shadow Scizor and Shadow Vileplume. Mind you, it's a bullet punch Shadow Scizor too. So there is so little things. Being able to take on 90%, that's why this is such a bad meta. It's just because there's very little things that can stop Wigglytuff. You're either going to kill Charmers or you're going to use Charmers. That's basically what this cup is. Or you're going to have a component that kills Charmers. Sadly, a lot of things in the meta aren't like fighters, etc. Little fun things can be like aren't going to be super viable just because you're going to have a bunch of Charmers running over. Now, is Wigglytuff better than Clefable? In some scenarios, yes. In some scenarios, no. But as you see, Clefable is Wigglytuff is a beast. So in the 2-0s, it's just, in the 2 shield Wigglytuff is just so oppressive. There's only 7 things that beat Wigglytuff. At the same time, it's just so good. It's so good. Like, there's not really a lot of if you want to use it, the double Charmer strat is very powerful in this cup. You could even save your shields for whatever's in the back, use the charm damage to see whatever you want to do, but as you see, Wigglytuff 2 is just so powerful, and unfortunately, unless you have something that can take it out, it's going to be very dangerous in this meta. Yeah. Anyways, if you have a Clefable, and you have a really good one, and you probably used it in a Kanto Cup, it's good for this meta, and you should probably use it, if you want to. As you see here, Hyper Beam doesn't really make much difference. You can run with Ice Beam and Play Rough. Play Rough allows you to flip a Alola into 0, so there's justification for using Play Rough versus Ice Beam. There isn't a lot of scenarios where you'll use Ice Beam, however, Ice Beam is your cheapest move, so you might as well go with Ice Beam Play Rough. That's your best moveset. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I'll be doing more Love Cup content. Good luck on your Battle League sets, and I'll see you guys on the next video.